Yeah, I mean, I think he's gotten better. He's worked hard to improve his skill. He's worked hard to, do a lot of things, especially on the defensive end of the floor, that he's just improved from a technique standpoint. He still can get better, and, you don't want this necessarily to be the highlight of your year. So I think that, hopefully he will continue to improve at a good rate. But he really has done a lot of good things. No matter what his minutes were throughout the preseason, he's been pretty consistently as far as producing.
I think last year, watched a lot of film with my father. He showed me a lot of clips of what I can do off the dribble, or whether it's not always popping to three, rolling sometimes, and he really helped me out. And I'm taking that and running with it.
Celtics win 186 in their final preseason game in 2014. This is the Garden Report on CLNS Radio and Celtics Blog. Jared Weiss, Jimmy Toscano, Julian Edlow. In case you forgot, WEEI.com, CLNSradio.com, new member of the show. I just got squidded live on TV, but this is pre-recorded, so it doesn't matter. Celtics win 100-86. Marcus Smart, big half, didn't play in the second half. Jared Sullinger, big game, played the second half. Let's talk about Jared Sullinger first. So Brad Stevens talked about his improvements. Now, the three-point shot's a pretty obvious one, Jimmy. But yes, he's rebounding like Dennis Rodman out there right now. It's kind of crazy.
But that's what he does.
Yeah.
Like the three-point shot is kind of the story, right? Because the rebounding, we've seen him go out for 20 rebounds last year. He's got that big body, big lower body, I should say, and he doesn't nose for the ball. Some guys are just, like you said, Dennis Rodman is one of those guys Doc Rivers mentioned. Some guys just have a nose for the ball. They know where the ball is going to be off the shot, off the rim, and Sullinger's one of those guys. The shot is just blowing my mind right now. I mean, last year he shot, I want to say 24% or something around 24% from three-point range. This preseason, it's at like 50-something. I mean, it's a crazy number that he's obviously not going to maintain, but it just goes to show you how much better of an outside shooter he is this preseason compared to last season. And honestly, if that becomes part of his game more consistently, you're going to see defenders playing so far up on him where it's going to open things up down low for the next guy. And if he works on his speed, at some point loses maybe a couple pounds, and he can float by some of those bigger defenders. Brad Stevens said it. He didn't say the word suddenly, but to me it's kind of sudden. He's become their main scorer. Where a couple years ago, Doc Rivers literally said they don't drop a single play for Jared Sullinger. And now he goes from that to being their biggest offensive threat.
Yeah, he only went 1 for 4 from 3 tonight, but I mean, you're right. Overall in the preseason, he's shooting night and day better than he was last year. And this is becoming like a classic Jared Sullinger stat line where he goes for 15 points and 17 boards. He played almost 26 minutes in this game. So, and he's coming off the 19 rebound game in Brooklyn, and that in a shortened game, albeit only 44 minutes. So, we talked last time we were here about Sullinger and what his ceiling is this season, and can he be an all-star? And since the first preseason game, I think all of our opinions of him have only gone up in terms of what his ceiling is this upcoming season.
So should we reassess the question that we answered in the Twitter bag last week? Do we think Jared Sullinger has a minimal shot of being an all-star team contender?
A minimal shot? Yeah. Sure. But I think you have to really put everything in perspective. I mean, tonight, for example, who the heck even started for the Nets? You know what I mean? Like
Plumlee, and that's about it.
Yeah, they didn't play half their guys, so you really have to put it all in perspective. Mm-hmm. I'm not trying to take anything away from Sullinger's numbers this preseason, but it is preseason. The games don't count. It's good to see him improve his shot. It's good to see him still rebounding, being aggressive. But I'm not gonna change my complete expectations for every player based on their preseason performances.
That's fair. I think one of the questions we talked about was him being a 20-point scorer. And, I still think that's out of reach for him. Yeah. But the All-Star question, I think, again, you don't want to put too much weight on the preseason, but I think that is a much more relevant question now from what I've seen from Jared Sullinger to this point and what we're expecting from him in the regular season.
Well, it's important to temper expectations because it's exactly what you said. Plumlee, I'm gonna guess here, Mason Plumlee. Wild guess,
Yes.
I think that's right, because
Yes,
I never
you're
got
right.
it right, even a couple of years in. But Plumlee was the only good big man that they had going tonight. That's part of their rotation. I mean, they have Allen Anderson going; he's more of a 3, and they have Mirza Teletovic, who's kind of like a 3 or 4 hybrid.
Yeah.
The only big man that the Nets would actually really put out there in the top of their rotation is Plumlee. So those numbers are inflated.
And Plumlee went for 15 and 11.
He had a
tonight,
good
so
game.
He had a good game
Dude,
himself.
I am Team Plumlee. I really like Plumlee a lot.
He was on
Plumlee's
the-
or
he was-
Plumlee?
He was on the
Plumlee, I'm
USA
not-
team.
I know,
over
which
the summer.
and some people
gotta
think,
get better
some
doing
people
that.
think that he shouldn't have been there. I say keep him there. He's a young big man. I think he's so underrated, and I think he's gonna have a big year, especially if somebody like Garnett and obviously Brook Lopez can't stay healthy. If those guys go down or they can't play him every game, he's gonna step in and put up way better numbers than he put up last year. Good fantasy basketball tip right there.
All right, hot sports takes there. So, Marcus Smart, let's talk about him to finish off this video. So he had a really big first half, and then he didn't even play in the second half. Not really that he didn't really need to. I mean, they were destroying the Nets for most of the game, but he is hitting some of his threes. The shot selection isn't ideal, but like Brad Stevens said at the top of this video, they're emphasizing him running the team, not worrying about shot selection as much. And he is doing it just kind of by breaking through the defense. I mean, Julian, he really makes offense by just getting in, just kind of breaking through and seeing what sticks once he hits the wall.
Yeah, I saw a lot from Marcus Smart that I liked tonight. For starters, he started at point guard for the first time in a little while, and again seemed comfortable with that role. But he didn't rely on the three-point shot as much. He did take it, I think, the first Celtics possession, and he swished it out of the corner. But from then on, he really relied more on kind of slashing through the lane, getting into the paint, drawing contact. He went 4 of 4 from the line. I can remember, I think, 3 contested layups that he had in that second quarter. It might have been 2. But really good things happen when Smart gets into the paint. He had 4 assists as well in only his 15 minutes in the first half. So I did really want to see him play the second half, though, because I wanted to see him put this together as a game. You know, we saw him score 16 points in the first half. If he had gotten his minutes in the second half and made this a 30, 32-minute game for him, you know, could he put forward 28 points, 8 assists, 4 steals on, 50% or so shooting?
Yeah.
That was kind of the only piece that we missed from him tonight. But in the first half, you have to love what you saw.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for this one. Part 2 coming up. Before we go there, remind you to like us on Facebook. Search the Garden Report Celtics. Tweet us, of course, at Julian Edlow, at Jimmy_Toscano, and at CLNS_Jared Weiss. Do it there. And we're excited to announce that CLNS Radio has finally launched our mobile app, so you can download that in the App Store. Link below, link in the description for this video. Like this video, and we'll like you back. We'll see you in part 2.
Yeah. I don't know that we've spent a ton of time with him on that exact thing. I mean, we talk about it every day, but it's not like it's been our focus as far as we want him to learn what we're doing first and foremost. But that is something that certainly that you have all this film to work with now. You're able to sit down after each game and evaluate what you can do better. The thing that I'd err on the side of is talking less about shot selection and talking more about running offense and understanding that you're out there directing, because the last thing you need somebody to do is be unconfident. And, I want our guys to be confident when they raise up and shoot, not second guessing whether it's a good or bad shot.
It's a high level. My confidence is very high right now. From game one, especially from game one. Didn't shoot the ball very well. I think I was 0 for 8 from the field, and I didn't really feel like I belonged out there, and kept playing, and my teammates kept me up.
When you shoot 0 for 8 and you have those critics saying, "Oh, he can't shoot the ball," does that kind of make you play with a little bit of a chip on your shoulder?
Every day. I mean, as a competitor, when someone tells you something, you can't do something, you're always going to have a chip on your shoulder to prove them wrong.